Welcome to This Week in West Hempstead. We've got a special supplement given some issues that happened yesterday. Dave, who are we talking to today and what about?
All right, Dan, thanks. So we're here with Gregg Goldenberg, and Gregg is head of security for the Young Israel of West Hempstead on Hempstead Avenue. And Gregg, welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me.
So yesterday was not your typical day in West Hempstead, certainly not a typical Saturday morning or Shabbat morning in the community. Maybe you can kind of take us through what happened.
Sure. I can give you some general directions. I have not yet met again with the police department to go over all the specifics. I've already reached out to them email this morning to set up a meeting with them. But from my understanding, they got a 911 call of a pipe bomb that could go off in the next 40 minutes at the Young Israel West Hempstead. But the address was a different location of one of our subordinate minyanim. The police showed up.
Congregations, for those of you
Congregations, I apologize. The police showed up approximately 8:10 on Saturday morning. They met me outside, told me the situation. We immediately went inside and evacuated the two services that were going on, made sure everybody else was out of the building. The police went downstairs to check the basement also. We moved everybody outside and cordoned off the street until we had a chance for the bomb squad to come and be able to check the building and clear the building, which took several hours.
So maybe we can stop right there. So people are in services. They're praying to God. They're involved. They're dealing with their kids, and now all of a sudden we have a bomb threat. You need to evacuate. What was going through the minds of the congregants?
So I actually have to say I'm very happy and impressed with the congregants. They were very level-headed, level-minded. They asked, second time to clarify what it was. They immediately all got up. A couple of them grabbed the coats because it was cold and a little wet outside, and immediately cleared the room. Actually, when one of the rooms said, "Oh, should we use the fire exit or the front door?" So they're actually, obviously, we've been disseminating enough information on what to do in an emergency that people actually thought ahead, and I appreciated that. But the police had already cordoned off the entire block, so taking them out the front door is what we did. If they had not been there, we would have reassessed on how to exit the building more correctly and safely for everybody inside.
So now the congregants are outside. They're exposed to the police. They see police dogs who've come in, or bomb-sniffing dogs, I assume. Not yet. But again, there's it's so out of the ordinary, and I'm trying to figure out, trying to put myself in the mind space, because quite honestly, I was a few blocks up, so it just as well could have been, the synagogue that I was at, and to have to go through that, and especially during the times of post October 7th. It is jarring to the community and to the individuals. We're talking about young kids. We're talking about seniors.
Yes, and people were, of course, quite agitated. Most of them took it in stride because of the heavy police presence, that they felt that the police were on top of everything that was going on. We were able to do a little bit more of the services so people would get some of the prayers done before they decided to clear out our secondary building. But some people, of course, went straight home. They saw what was going on, turned around, and went home. And I couldn't agree with them more. That is the best thing to do. And as soon as we've assessed everything, we sent everybody else home also. I think overall, because everybody stayed calm, it created a calm atmosphere so that people were not overly agitated. And that was very appreciated.
And when you say we, you're really referring to CSS or to the community, service people that are always involved in the synagogues around the community? Yeah,
so as part of my job is I'm also in charge of our security team. We have a multi-layered system that takes care of everything from inside and outside of the synagogues. We worked closely with the police department. They have we've built a rapport with them over months and years. So when they walked in, they knew exactly who we were, called me by name, and I appreciated, that they did not push us out of the way. They understood that what we did was everything we could possibly do to keep everybody calm and safe, and move them so that they can do their job and keep everybody safe on top of us. And we then helped them with traffic control and everything else after that.
So your feedback as it relates to the Nassau County Police Department, A plus. I mean, sounds like they were all over it and doing whatever.
Yeah,
needed to be
they were
done.
all over it. We did everything we thought we should do. Fortunately, I don't think this happens very often, even in Nassau County, anywhere, bomb threats. So again, because of non-repetition, there were probably small mistakes made. I've already reached out again to the precinct this morning, to the inspector, to ask him to do a meeting with the chief of the bomb squad, so we can learn from him. And I'm going to have other leaders from the other synagogues join us, so they can learn from what we did right and what we did wrong, and so that everything is more fluid next time.
So let me ask that question actually here. We talked specifically this happening with Young Israel. I happened to have been up at one of the satellite locations. We hadn't even started at that point. So, for us it was a slightly different arrangement and everybody sort of dispersed. This only seemed to have specifically called out Young Israel. There's 6 or 7 other synagogues in town. Was it clear from the beginning that none of the other synagogues necessarily had to make any changes?
Yeah, from what the police told me when they walked in to tell me originally, that the 911 call that came in was actually for the Young Israel of West Hempstead. It was apparently the noun name was used, and they actually used a secondary address, which is one of our satellite services. So they were concerned about which one it was. So that at one point we ended up clearing all 3 buildings that we have services in, because of abundance of precautions, and then had dog sweeps of all 3 buildings to be safe.
Yeah. And I can certainly verify that in the other synagogues it was business as usual. We finished our service, we had our kiddush, or we had some food after,
right,
and really had no idea whatsoever of what was going on.
And you may have noticed we have actually had more people, because some people turned around from us and went to the other synagogues.
Wow.
Because religion is very important. And
yeah, religion is really important, and synagogues have really stepped up attendance in the community since October 7th. Security has stepped up since October 7th. What does this mean for the future? Like, as far, and you had talked about learning and trying to analyze what happened and what the response was, how we can do things better. These are the times that we live in.
yes, it is. Fortunately, I think West Hempstead has actually become a bit of a gold standard on how to do security and throughout the community together. We're in contact with every synagogue and Jewish school in the community on one chat, so we can all talk and everybody knows what's going on in every single location. As soon as I was able to take a quiet second away from helping the police, we immediately disseminate information to all those groups, so that every synagogue and directors of the schools knew what was going on. And because we work so well together, and the police have seen that, we actually had a meeting with the police and all those leaders probably 6 weeks ago now. They understand and want to help us in everything we could do, because we try so hard.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, again, like you said, it's unfortunate this is what we have to go through. And I have this all the time, and I tell people, I need to check a bag when you're walking in the door. But you know me, I'm like, yes, but unfortunately, this is the world we live in.
Greg, I want to thank you on behalf of the congregation. I want to thank you on behalf of the community for doing what's needed in the community. We would just like to go to walk and in the streets and not have to deal with all this.
I 100% agree.
But it's the reality. So thank you. And
thank you. And I just want to give a thanks to, like I said, to the whole CSS team. Everyone who was on site yesterday stepped up, stayed the entire time.
Yeah.
Helped in every way they could possibly help, and every team does it the same way. And we want to keep everyone as happy and comfortable and secure as we can.
I think that's we can't say that enough for the community. When we walk into the services and we're greeted, whatever greeting means, by people from CSS, we're reassured. And that's not easy, because these guys and women are standing out there in the cold, in the rain, under all circumstances, and they only have one goal, which is to protect people in the community. So can't thank you enough. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, that'll wrap it up for a special edition of This Week in West Hempstead. And again, I want to thank Gregg Goldenberg for his time and for all your efforts on behalf of the community. Thank you, Dan, and we'll join you next week.